I grew up in the Deep South. This is a land of religious people. This was a major part of my life. It was Sunday school, it was choir, it was Thursday church basketball league. We lived life around the church. But I started to notice that the people in my church, they looked exactly like the world. The pastor who married my parents had a moral failure. The pastor who married me and Ashley also had a moral failure. It was just everywhere, and there was so much inconsistency, preaching one thing, doing another. But the religion that I saw was more like superstition. No pursuit of God, no pursuit of holiness, no desire to please God, no love of God. It was plastic religion, and I started to ask questions. Well, that's what my culture is like, that's what my environment is like, but is that me? Am I part of this? One day I'm sitting in a Sunday night service and I hear something that pricks my heart. My pastor was preaching in the book of Revelation. He was walking through the Ten Commandments. He was walking through the day of judgment. And every time he would mention one of those sins, it was like punch after punch after punch. You shall not lie. You shall not steal. You shall not commit adultery or lust in your heart. And as he read that list, it was like the wrath of God was abiding on me. I went home that night and I wept. It was my father who explained to me that Christ had done it all. It was through his death, his burial, his resurrection, his life that was lived perfectly. My father told me there's two options for you, Matt. You can bear your sin, or Jesus can bear your sin. And at that moment I prayed and God's grace came to me and I believed the gospel. And that was the moment that I loved him. That's the moment that I laid down costume Christianity, cultural Christianity, and I found a new Lord. From there, I felt the call to the ministry, and it was the privilege of my life to serve the Lord by serving His church. I minister alongside my wife, Ashley. Ashley and I have been married now 18 years. We have 4 children, and this is just such a sweet time of ministry as we get to minister to the bride of Christ together. In 2019, I was called to be the lead teaching pastor of Central Church in Collierville, Tennessee. And I have a joy to lead our staff. I have a joy to lead out in this community and serve this community. Maybe some of you are watching this today. You've taken on the culture. You've shown up to the Easter service, the Christmas service. You've been drugged to church by your parents like me. I was drugged to church by my parents. My little child ears heard the gospel thousands of times, but it was never real. I never truly loved Jesus. It never produced a change in my life. Maybe that's your story. Maybe you're coming to this gospel presentation and you're asking real questions. I need to do that. And I need to repent of my sins. I need to fall in love with Jesus. Cultural Christianity ultimately ends in frustration and depression. Cultural Christianity ultimately ends in a life that is not blessing. Life's hard, but I'll tell you what, whenever you are truly born again, you get to experience life with Jesus Christ, and you're in fellowship with Christ, and that makes all the difference.